Hello and welcome back to another video. In this video, we're going to be looking at 5 ways that your buyer's mind works. Now, my approach to sales and selling is firmly rooted in communication. As far as I'm concerned, selling is just a conversation with money at the end. It's about good communication and finding a connection point. It's not about techniques and trickery and all the stuff that you might have seen in the movies. So when you understand how your buyer's mind works in terms of communication, you can understand how to better communicate with them. Now, this isn't so you can take advantage of them or use techniques or persuade them or trick them into anything they don't want to do, but it does allow you to understand how to better present information to them and in what way and what speed to maximize your chance of them understanding and engaging with your offering. So number 1, quite obvious but often missed, your buyers see the world from their point of view. This is known as the false consensus effect, and it's the belief that others see the world in the same way that we do, which is just a form of assumption. Now, this is a huge problem because as a seller, I'm looking at my offering and I think that you might understand my offering and know about it to the same level I do, which is incorrect. And as a buyer, I'm thinking about my needs and my problems, and I think you as a seller understand me, but it's incorrect. Now, the image there is the best way to explain this visually. Depending on your viewpoint, you're looking at a 6 or a 9. Nobody is right and nobody is wrong. It's just a matter of perspective. But as a salesperson, as a sales leader, it's up to you to recognize that you need to adopt the perspective of your client in order to succeed. So what would your client be experiencing, seeing, feeling, thinking, etc.? What does their world look like contextually, and how can you relate that to your offering? How can you talk about things that matter to them in terms they understand? Number 2, they only go from the information they have. Now, to use computer terminology, this is WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get. If I don't tell you that as well as running Clear Sales Message, I have a dog walking business or something else random, I can't ever hope to sell that to you because you're not aware of it. So it's another form of assumption. Your buyers are relying upon immediate examples and information to make their decision. If you don't explicitly tell me something about your offering as a buyer, I probably don't know it. So the burden of proof is on you to give me as much clear and concise information as possible, not to overload me, but to give me as much as I need to make an informed decision. As a salesperson, your role is to give me the information and the opportunity I need to buy, but the decision is always mine. If you don't give me enough information, then I just can't proceed. Number 3, they make emotionally based decisions. Now, this is the same for you and I, but whether we'll admit to it is another thing. We are human beings. We are animals. We make emotionally based decisions and we rationalize with logic. So you need to think about connecting with your clients on an emotional level. And when we say emotion, we're thinking about feelings. Does your offering help with peace of mind, confidence, fear, pride, scarcity? What is it about your offering that your clients are really buying, and how can you connect to them? Going back to the false consensus effect, if you're thinking about your buyer and contextually what they want and the situation they're facing, you should then get some degree of insight into the feelings and emotions that they're experiencing, and you can use those to theme your communications. Number 4, they can't handle too much choice. If you ask a buyer to make too many choices, they are very unlikely to make a choice. Or they will pick the first or last thing that you offer them. And we know this is true because if you've been to a restaurant and you offer the specials menu and they read it off to you, we've got salmon to start with, then we've got pasta, beef, blah, 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 and jam roly-poly for pudding. And you end up ordering pasta and jam roly-poly. So it's generally one of the first things you hear and one of the last things you hear, and you kind of forget the stuff in the middle. So how could you pare down your offering? How could you present your clients with as few options and as few choices as possible? And if naturally there are lots of choices to be made with your offering, how can you just cluster them and split them up into sections? So first of all, we look at size, then we look at color, then we look at budget, or whatever it happens to be. What you can't do is present your buyer with 25 different options in one go, because it will overload them and it will very much lead them to not make a choice. And finally, number 5, they have baggage. This is called the law of past experience. Your buyers will have met, quote unquote, people like you before. If I tell you that I'm a nun, I'm a stay-at-home mum, I'm a teacher, I'm a coach, I'm a professional athlete, I'm an accountant, I'm a nurse, whatever it happens to be, You've got preconceived notions about those people and what you are expecting, so you need to be careful. The preconceived notions could be positive or negative, but if I tell you that I'm an estate agent, depending on the experiences you've had previously, you might favor me or not. So think about the fact that your buyers may have had a negative experience in the past. You need to be aware of that, but they also might have had a positive experience. The only way to be sure is to ask some really good questions and to understand where they are coming from. If you don't realize that they've had a bad experience in the past with an estate agent who ripped them off, and you can't then deal with that and talk to them and explain to them how you're different, they might judge you the same, because I've met people like you before. So the law of past experience. Ask good questions, find out, have you ever dealt with people like me before, and how was that for you? Was it a good experience? Was it a bad experience? What happened there? And that will give you some really good insight. And if it was a poor experience, hopefully you can then put right the bad things that happen. So there you have it. 5 simple things to remember, 5 simple ways that your buyer's mind works. And I can't stress enough that this is purely focused upon communication. Nothing that we cover in this video or any of the other videos on this channel is about techniques, persuasion, trickery, or getting people to do things they do not want to do. That said, your buyer's mind works in a particular way, as does yours, so if you understand how to communicate with them effectively, you maximize your chance of engaging and hopefully then converting them to buy. So please share this video with anybody who you think might need it or might enjoy this content. And if you like this content yourself, then please do subscribe to us and hit the notification bell to be notified when we release more videos like this. Thank you very much for your time. I'll see you in the next video.